Welcome back to the Tennis Diaries. And Wimbledon has ended. It's come to an end. My favorite tournament. It was the perfect fortnight for me personally. I love both winners, um, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Uh, One thing I realized whilst doing this podcast is that there's going to be times when I'm not happy with the winners, or you know, there's going to be a tough loss in there somewhere, right? That's just that's just going to happen eventually. But I started this podcast just before the men's Roland Garros final, and Carlos won, and I don't know, the next slam Carlos won. I don't know. It's just I was not expecting him to do that. I mean, I'm gonna start with Charlie Carlos, because he was amazing. I am so proud of him. He did it. I mean, first of all, this is the first Grand Slam he's defended. The last one he tried to defend was the US Open last year, and he lost in the semifinals. This year he defends in absolute style, more convincingly, right? I mean, that's the thing with defending a title. Like, a lot of the times, like the first time you win it, there's more tight matches, tight situations, and to defend the title is like, yeah, this one's mine. It wasn't a one off. I'm here. This is my backyard kind of thing. That's the kind of statement that Carlos made in that final. Of all the things, of all the results I had for that final, a straight sets win. Like, if you were going to tell me it's going to be straight sets for someone, I would not have said Carlos, because Carlos winning in straight sets after the fortnight that I've seen before the final was shocking to me, because pretty much from the third round, he dropped a set every single match. And the fact that this final against Djokovic was easier than some of those other matches blows my mind. It really does. But we have to start with the significance of this achievement. Carlos Alcaraz becomes the youngest man to complete the Channel Slam, which is winning in Paris and winning in London, Roland Garros and Wimbledon back to back. Roland Garros was in June, Wimbledon is in July. Apparently, there was a time when these two slams were only 1 week apart, and you had other guys like, Rod Laver, Bjorn Borg, like, and apparently it was 1 week apart. Like, that is really, really impressive. That is ridiculous. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, now there's like 3 weeks between them, but still really impressive, right? And yeah, he becomes the first non-big free player to win multiple majors in the same year since 2001. Uh, I don't even think I got that correct. I don't think it's 2001, but since like 2003, pretty much. This is his fourth major. He's now equal with other dudes who've under 22, Mats Wilander, Bjorn Borg, Boris Becker, who had four slams before the age of 22, and Carlos joins them with this victory. This is Carlos's third title of the season. His other two titles are Indian Wells and Roland Garros. Like, yeah, so we're in the seventh month of the year, and he's won three titles, and two of them are Grand Slams. Come on. You're a Grand Slam merchant, Carlos. uh, yeah, I'm just gonna get into this men's final. So when I heard that, when Sinner went out in the quarterfinals, we'll be revisiting that, by the way. But when Sinner went out, it was like, okay, 100%. No offense to you, Medvedev, but 100%, it's gonna be the rematch. Um, Whereas if we had gotten Sinner Alcaraz, it would have been more 50-50. But Medvedev Alcaraz is a matchup that just favors Carlos pretty much 8 times out of 10. He's going to beat Medvedev. It just doesn't have Medvedev doesn't have the weapons to counter Carlos, especially on grass. You could see straight after the first set, Carlos dominated him. Even in the first set of that semi-final, Carlos dominated him. He broke Medvedev's serve like 3 or 4 times, and he wasn't even serving well in that set. But the fact that Medvedev's serve wasn't working, that was trouble signs for him. He needed that serve. That's what helped him against Sinner. He needed that serve against Carlos. And even though Carlos didn't have a first serve of his own, he still wrestled that match back from the second set onwards. And it really wasn't close. It should have been straight sets, really, because Carlos kept breaking and then losing his serve in that semi-final. But yeah, so at this point, it's the rematch. Novak beats Musetti. Dear Musetti, you stumbled here, but yeah, I'd be shocked to find anyone who truly truly believed that Lorenzo Musetti was going to beat Novak Djokovic in the Wimbledon semi-final. I really don't think that person exists. But yeah, um, so at this point, it's the rematch. Here goes the hype. The tweet about the rematch gets like 50,000 likes. This is the matchup in tennis, the matchup. Like, yeah, across ATP, WTA, this is the matchup that is able to transcend this tennis bubble that we live in, and people care. It elevates. This matchup has just been pretty much, apart from the ATP finals in Turin where they met towards the end of last year, every single match has been memorable. The first time they met was in Madrid in 2022 when they had this epic, almost like, was it 4 hours or something? Or it was a 3 set match, it was a semi-final, and it was like almost 4 hours or something like that. Crazy. And Carlos beats him, and that's the first time they meet. And yeah, that was the first meeting. The second time they meet is in 2023 at Roland Garros in the semi-finals. So much hype for that one. And obviously we know Carlos cramped, so it was kind of memorable for the cramp, but even the first 2 sets were memorable because it was so good. And those two, their matchups, their styles are, it's not exactly, it's like, I like when Novak faces players, offensive players such as Carlos, because it forces Novak to play more offensively, right? He knows that his sort of just, I'm just not gonna miss, can get through pretty much everyone, but against Carlos it's like, all right, I'm here, I'm gonna match you. And Carlos brings that out of Novak, and yeah, that was the second meeting, and of course we have the third meeting, which is the most, what it's yeah, that's the last good men's final. Um, yeah, there's not been a men's final that's topped that since. And yeah, that was an amazing 5 set match. That was epic, and everyone watched it. And yeah, when Carlos won in the 5th set, he beat Novak, the first person to beat Novak in 10 years on centre court, and to beat him with all those statistics. Novak won the first set, Carlos still won. They went to a tie break, Carlos won it. They went to a 5th set, Carlos won it. He served it out, he didn't choke. And at this point, the frenzy is hot, is real. We're like, when are they going to play again? And we're already predicting them. They're going to meet here. They're going to meet here. Like, this is what we need. This is the rivalry. It's this short, contained moment where a 36-year-old and a 20-year-old are just each other's match. They're the only two that can match each other, which is just absolutely fascinating. And they give us another one in Cincinnati last year in the final. Another incredible match. This time Djokovic gets his revenge. And yeah, Carlos has match points and Novak wins it. And I feel like that was really significant. Carlos did cry after that final. And yeah, I mean, I think that was possibly the only final he's lost. His final record is really, really good. And yeah, he's pretty upset, of course, because he played really well, and it was almost like that was a win for Novak psychologically because after Wimbledon, there was a lot of quick phrases like changing of the guard and will Novak ever win a slam again? And yeah, Novak was on a mission to meet him in that final and to break him the way he breaks other guys, to crush his soul. And he did kind of do that a little bit. So yeah, and like I said, Turin, nobody cares. We're not talking about that. So basically, we have this three-part stories or four, just yeah, four matches, and that is different chapters. The first time they meet, the second time they meet, and how each person is winning the time after. Carlos wins and Novak wins and Carlos wins and Novak. It was just amazing, and so to have that this year, we haven't played it all this year, and really at the start of the year, if you told me, you know, this was going to be the final, I would have been maybe a little bit surprised because Novak hasn't reached a final all year, which is crazy. But also not crazy to me that the first final he reaches is Wimbledon because Wimbledon has so often been the slam where Novak comes back, figures things out. He even said that himself. And I think he was searching for that intangible, you know. It's not anything necessarily logical. It's almost this like the aura of Wimbledon and the aura that he has at Wimbledon. And he's like, well, I can still bank on that, right? And almost even though Australian Open is his backyard and he has more Australian Opens, it just feels like because of recency bias. I mean, he's made the final in Wimbledon every year since 2018. I can't say that's the same for Australian Open, but he won four Wimbledons, and yes, he lost last year, but he still was there and he lost in the fifth. It was crazy, like so I don't blame him for doing everything he could, even with the knee surgery, to get back and try and get into this final, to get into this tournament, because he has a chance and there is this sort of magic about it, and it's the fact that there's not many great other grass players, so he absolutely has a chance. Um, but yeah, I Novak was talking a lot, doing a lot of talk this whole tournament, and I'm thinking this is scary. Everyone should be scared. That's what I was thinking because when Novak talks, he's confident, and I'm thinking, he's feeling himself, and his aura is really taking him through matches. He did struggle a little bit against Jacob Fernley and Popperin, but really these guys didn't have it. Didn't have it. Runa, in my round of 16 preview, I did say that, Runa, who keeps trying to put his name next to Sinner and Alcaraz, has to show something here. It's okay if you lose to the GOAT, but you need to show us something. And it was absolutely shocking. He didn't show us anything. And in fact, the lashes are going to get worse for him because your age mate, your peer, Carlos, in this final, you played the same guy that crushed you in straight sets, and Carlos just crushed him. And, the difference is the opponent and the level. And Runa was disappointing. He didn't have the level. And, he posted after the match that he felt like a shadow on the court. And, I hope he gets some confidence back because really he hasn't been doing anything at the slams. He really, I don't even know when. He just hasn't done anything at the slams, and you know, I think his game has stagnated. Like he needs to add more, kind of thing. He's a solid baseliner, but it's not enough because even the backhand is good. The forehand should be better. Um, the serve should be better. It was really strange, and he folded to the aura of Novak Djokovic, and that's why Novak is here because he can bank on that, and sometimes it does work, like against Holger Rune. And then of course Novak gets the walkover in the quarterfinals, and then he beats Musetti. Again, I think the aura thing helps, but also Musetti doesn't have enough weapons and tools. Um, but yeah, for this final, I did predict Novak to win, And this is the thing, all the logical side of my brain was saying, well, Carlos should win this match. It's not even close, really. Like, you're 21, he's 37. He's just had knee surgery. He's geriatric. I don't know, he's still wearing a knee brace. He can barely move. You're in your close to or in your physical prime. You have the power to blast him off the court. You're you just won Roland Garros a month ago. I don't know. And even with all these logicals in my head, I still said to myself, I don't know. Because that's what Novak Djokovic does. Like, a lot of people were predicting Novak to win this match. I know I'm not the only one. Like, looking back in hindsight, we're like, wow, we should have just stuck with the logicalness of it all. But because it's Novak Djokovic, that's the reason why I'm thinking, even with all those logical things in my head, that he shouldn't even be nowhere near Carlos in this match. I'm like, but is Novak gonna let Carlos beat him into Wimbledon finals? No, and also the fact that this could be, the last best chance to get 25 Grand Slams. All of these things in my head, nothing logical, but all these intangibles, just feelings. And also the way Novak was acting the whole week. I don't know, it was giving me, he's getting himself fired up. He's getting pissed. He's doing so many interviews. And it was just pointing to me towards a rematch, a successful rematch, a successful scalp for Novak against a 21-year-old. And yeah, that just didn't age well. And honestly, I'm happy it didn't age well, because if Carlos had lost to a 37-year-old with a bad knee, it's not a good look. It would have been embarrassing, really, to lose. And I'm happy Carlos took that seriously, because yeah, he shouldn't have lost. And the fact is that I think a mixture of aura and, you know, other guys not being good enough is what helped Novak get to this final. He really shouldn't have got to this final. And yeah, we'll never know about Alex de Minaur, sadly, because yeah, he got injured in match point. I mean, I've never seen that kind of thing before. That honestly, like, that was really, really, like, just how bad can it get? How can you get injured when you're just about to win the match? And yeah, he couldn't even smile when he was walking to the net. It was just crazy. But yeah, I'm sure Alex de Minaur would have tested him more so, mate. But yeah, a lot of Novak is psychological. People are playing the name, rather than the guy across the net who's hobbling. A lot of it is that. And Carlos, he just played the man opposite the net who was hobbling a little bit. Um, yeah. When they both came out, there was a lot of smiling before the match from Novak. And that's when I knew, something's off. Um, is it crazy to say that Novak walked onto the court defeated? Is that crazy to say? Because I just feel like he knew he didn't have the level to match Carlos today. He knew that his aura would be enough against some other guys, and but Carlos is different. Carlos is the leader of the next gen, and he's absolutely fearless, ruthless, powerful, just a physical specimen of a guy. And Novak smiling, laughing before the final with Carlos. It was weird. It was giving 2017, when Novak had this like hippie stage and he was smiling a lot, and there was nothing there. Actually, just the whole final, Djokovic looked performative to me. Like, he was he was acting in a role kind of thing. So, you know, I don't know, when in the third set he started holding a bit more. He got past two games in the third set, and he did a little raw, but it looked very forced. Like, he was like, well, this is what I would usually do, isn't it? So he kind of did it, but I didn't believe in it, because you've been flat the whole match. Um, on the match itself, the first game of the match decided the whole match, the outcome. It was crazy. Like Carlos just came out and they played this really long game, 15 minutes or whatever. It was really long and there were so many deuces and Carlos just kept putting pressure. Novak came to the net, was terrible at the net. I mean, he was feeling the pressure. Like I said, I just feel like he walked on defeated and he just knew that Carlos was superior to him in the way they are now. Carlos is just superior to him and Carlos was superior to him. It was absolute domination. It was reminiscent of Yannick Sinner beating him this year at the Australian Open, but possibly even worse because at least Novak stole a set in that match, but here he didn't. I mean, he almost did. He almost did. All right, so that game in the third set. So it's in the. All right, so first of all, before we get to that, so it's Carlos is 2 sets to love up, and it's the third set, and it's 4 games all. So the crowd has been a bit more involved in this set because they want their money's worth. Yes, especially if they were paying £10,000 allegedly for some of that, for to watch this match, and Novak has been holding a bit. He did have a break point on Carlos's serve at some point, but Carlos saved it. So now it's 4 games all. Novak is serving, and Carlos just says, "All right, audience, I've given you a little bit more here. I want this done now." And he plays an unbelievable return game. It was crazy. Like I was gasping as I was literally like, oh, no way he hit that. I think it was a thunderous like 107 mile per hour forehand in this game. There was an insane forehand like cross court volley or whatever in this game. There was a backhand pass in this game. It was winner. It was a highlight reel. It was crazy. And I don't know, in that moment I had this like it was like I had this out of body experience and I was like, whoa, like I don't know. If Carlos wasn't talked about as the baby goat that he is, he definitely will be from here onwards. Like I feel like everyone felt that. Like all the takes I'm seeing after this match, Carlos is it's if in case we didn't know, in case he didn't show us already when he became the youngest male number one, when he won Wimbledon at 20, when he won became the youngest guy to win on every single surface in majors. He showed it again today. He just dominated the GOAT in a final, and that return game was crazy. And then he set it up and he was serving for it. And he plays 3 amazing points in his 40 love, 3 championship points. And I'm like, I'm just in awe of him. I'm just like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. Because Carlos today was playing as the favorite. The bookies had him as the favorite. I personally did predict Novak to win, but from an objective standpoint, Carlos was the favorite, and he played like the favorite. Like I wondered if that pressure would get to him because last year he was kind of the underdog. Nobody thought he would win, and this year he just is. It's like he saw himself as the favorite as well. He was like, oh yeah, I'm the favorite. I'm not losing today. That's it. I'm here to win. I'm here to destroy. And yeah, so at that point he's serving for it and I get my phone out and I start filming it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. One more point, let's go. I think I glanced at Twitter and I saw this account and this other tennis account and they're like, no, in capitals. And I'm like, because I'm watching on BBC iPlayer, my stream is like um 20 seconds behind. No, like a minute behind. My stream is a minute behind, so I'm like, why are they screaming no? Like, why are they typing no? What's going? But then I go off Twitter and then I keep watching the match. So I have my phone out and I'm videoing it because I'm thinking, right, he's got 3 championship points. One of the next is gonna whatever, and I want to film the moment he wins his second Wimbledon. So now the dark forces start swirling in this game here because I have no idea what was happening. How many lets were in this game? There was like 4 or 5 lets. It was crazy. There was 4 or 5 lets. There was a double fault from Carlos. There was a weird volley in the net from Carlos. And then at 40-30, Carlos is about to hit an overhead. or is it a volley? It was a ball in the air. He was about to hit it in. Somebody shouts. Now, I don't know if this is an op or if this is a fan and a prematurely excited fan for Carlos. Either way, it did not help. And he missed it. And it's deuce. And I'm like, okay. Um, well, he still has 2 more points. And then at this point, Carlos is he's been perfect the whole match. He's a tiny bit losing it, a teeny tiny bit. It's just a little bit tight. He's not showing any signs. He's dominated this whole match for the 2 hours and for 2 hours, and yeah, it was you know he just makes some errors, and the game is gone, and it's 5 games all. So I put my phone away, and I'm like, God, no, 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 no. This is sad. And I, like many others, I'm thinking about Roger Federer, Roger Federer, and 40-15, and of course this is Carlos is in a way more favorable position because he was 2 sets up, but I'm just thinking this is sad, and I really just praying it doesn't go to a fourth set. I love both players, by the way, so I do want Novak to win another slam. However, the reason I was rooting for Carlos in this match is because I wanted him to get the Channel Slam and be the youngest guy to do it. So that was specifically my vision for my reason for rooting for Carlos. I really wanted that record for him. Um, but if Novak was playing anyone else in this final, I would have been rooting for Novak. But lol, I mean, yikes! If Novak, I don't know, man. I mean, anyone facing Novak today, I don't know. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so Novak holds pretty comfortably and it's 6-5. Now it's back to Carlos within a flash, within a click, just like that. He's serving again, and I'm like, oh my lord. I mean, I I never think of Carlos as a choker. He's not. He's cold. He's resilient. He's not Medvedev. He's not Zverev. He's not even Tsitsipas. Like all those three guys have choked from 2 sets up. He's not that guy. So, you know, I'm not thinking he's a choker, but I'm like, damn, if he loses the set, he's choked. Like, and it's such a weird thing to associate with Carlos because he's just so opposite. That he's clutch. He's not a choker. He's more so clutch. Um, but again, this is why he's different. He holds to love in this game. Holds to love. That's it. Forehand winner, drop shot, puts him away, unreturnable sub, boom, 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 game, 6-all, tie break. So yeah, win the tie break, and he plays a good tie break, and he wins in the tie break. And thank the Lord he won in tie break because I don't know, I still think he would have won if it had gone to a fourth, but just no, just don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, and that's really it. That's it. It felt almost anticlimactic as I was preparing to watch this final for a good 5 hours. I had cleared my schedule. I was like, I'm here all day because I'm expecting a long match. And it was really quick, and it was really stress free for me, even though I was still stressed. Even when Carlos was 2 sets, when Carlos won the first set 6-2, I'm like, okay, now the match really starts. And then he gets to break early in the second, and I'm like, okay, like it's weird, like because he's winning, but it feels like a false sense of security. You're just waiting for the catch. Like, what's the catch? When does Novak wake up or whatever? But Novak just didn't have it. He just didn't have. He couldn't reach the level to beat to beat Carlos today, and it's gonna become a more common thing as he ages and he's older, and it's something that. However, like I said, the fact that he still managed to make this final despite everything, his aura still has some points, but there are chips in it. There's people are knocking on the aura, but really, the funny thing is, if Medvedev was in this final, I don't know. I'm not backing Medvedev, so I still feel like he can beat some of these guys. Also, if you don't have the power to blow him off the court, he can hang with you maybe more so than Sinner and Alcaraz have more powerful strikes. So certainly for that. Um, but yeah, it was not a good final. With all the hype, yeah, it was almost, yeah, it was just a complete domination, annihilation from Carlos, and yeah, it wasn't a good final. Yeah, but we will remember it though, even though it wasn't great. We will remember this moment for what it meant for Carlos, what it meant for Novak, possibly. Um, these two legends at differing ends of their career. I feel like Carlos really, really took off today. I don't know. He really, really took off today, and he's building his aura. As he kind of steals the aura from Novak and rubs it, glitters like glitter all over himself. That's what I feel like today. Like Carlos was strutting around that court. He looks really good in white, by the way. He looks so so good. Like I love watching him at Wimbledon. Enjoyed this past 2 weeks. His hair's really good. His outfits look good. He looks stunning, to be honest. He looks really cute, and yeah, just strutting around the court. Like, this is my court. That's what I've been seeing. Like, even when he's tested, I've been seeing it all past 2 weeks. This is my court. And yeah, this is like, it feels different to the other slams because of the way he won it. It's his first final that he won in straight sets and at a slam. And it just feels different. Like, it feels like he's just elevated himself completely now to something else. And I'm really interested in the rest of his season and how, I mean, you have to think his ego is on top of the world right now. I said it with respect. I have no issues with egos, by the way. I love my guys with egos. All the best guys have egos. Don't ever let them tell you any different, that people are humble. Of course, off the court, people are humble. On the court, they're all arrogant mother chuckers, all of them. No way do the big three in their prime, or Carlos today, or this past 6 weeks, walk onto the court and think they're going to get beat. They're going to beat the other guy. That's what they're thinking as they're walking out onto the court. Carlos has won 14 matches in a row at Grand Slams. He walked every time onto the court. I'm going to beat you. I'm better than you. I'm the best player in the world. He thinks that in his head, even though he'll be gracious, of course. He'll say it's, Sinner, but in his head, he believes he's the best player in the world. He played like that today. It was giving ego, respect. It was giving arrogance, respectfully. It was giving, I'm him. It was giving, I'm next up. I'm here. And after the match, he said he wants to sit at the table with the big guys. And what does that mean? This guy wants to reach, like, he's going for 20 majors. That's what I'm getting. The vibes I'm getting. He's not saying it but he's alluding to it. Like, he even said, I don't consider myself a champion. Only the big three are champions. So what I'm getting from that is he needs to go down as one of the GOATs. That's what he's seeing in his head. And he's going for the majors. He is a Grand Slam merchant, and it's really exciting to see what Carlos is going to do this year. And with this aura building, everything is building. The fifth set record built more. Oh man, yeah, I'm here for it. But yeah, on another note, I've really enjoyed my two favorite players. Djokovic, my favorite player of the past 10 years, and Alcaraz, my new favorite player of, I don't know, the new generation. Meeting the way they have met in the past year, and also they have this bromance thing going on. Like, there's been pictures of Carlos with Novak's kids, who are closer to Carlos's age, by the way, and it's very friendly. They're so friendly with one another. It's so interesting. Obviously, yeah, Carlos is playing Novak more than he's never played Federer, and he played Nadal like 2022. But yeah, Novak is the one Novak has taught him a lot, right? He's gone through he's literally grown up playing, and every time he plays Novak, you see where he's at in his development. So the first time he played Novak, it was 2022, and then he cramps in the French Open semi-final, and then he learns from that, and he wins in the next. He wins in Wimbledon, and then he chokes match points in Cincinnati, and then today he gets his revenge, and it's like each time he's learning, each time he meets Novak, it's a different stage of his development. I love their rivalry. I love the bromance. I love the respect and mutual respect from both sides. It's really actually quite heartwarming, and I never knew that this is the duo that I needed, Alcaraz and Djokovic. I mean, obviously a lot of people want to put Alcaraz with Nadal because they're both Spanish, but no, I'm really feeling Alcaraz and Djokovic. Like I like that duo. I really do like that duo. Another thing with Carlos is that when he's asked, how you're going to prepare for the next match, he's always consistent in saying the key is to enjoy, the key is to enjoy. And sometimes I kind of just took that as a sort of cliche kind of thing, like I don't know, just like a throwaway line. But I feel like this past 2 weeks, I realized really what he actually means by that. And the key is to enjoy because he needs to be relaxed in order to play his best tennis. And I've seen that, wow, in so many weird moments or tight moments where he's a little bit in trouble and he just starts smiling a little bit. And I've never seen a smile more deadly, in the sense that when you see him smiling, I'm scared for the opponent. And I think it was, yeah, when he's I think it was Tiafo. It was Tiafo. There was Humbert. I'm gonna talk about the Humbert one because that's the one I'm remembering. So we're playing Hugo Humbert, round of 16, centre court. It's the fourth set, and it's, Humbert has started peaking and playing really well in the third set. Now we're in the fourth set, and I believe it's 5 games all or something, or Carlos is serving to stay in it or something. It's like a tight service game, and I think it's love 30 or love 40. Yeah, I think it's love 40. It's love 40, and Carlos, he rants a little bit, like he's very clear, a little bit frustrated, and then all of a sudden, just this clarity comes over him, and he just plays 6 perfect points in a row, and he holds the game, and then he smiles after that, and then he breaks there, and then holds and serves it out. The ability to reset, I've seen it so many times. Even in the French Open against Sinner in the semi-final, he lost the third set, kind of choked it. Okay, he revealed that he was having cramps. But I remember when that happened, when he lost the third set, I was fuming. And now he's in the fourth set and it's tight. I think it's like 4 games all, or 5-4, right? Sinner's serving to stay in it. And then Carlos just hits this like freaking amazing forehand, and he just starts smiling after any boom he breaks in, and I'm just like, wow. And even today, even in the final against Novak, it's in the tiebreaker, it's tight, he has match point again, and he just starts smiling, and then he serves an unreturnable serve, and it's done. And I will never. That's why I really want to. I can't wait for this documentary. So we've got more news on this Carlos Alcaraz documentary that is coming out. And the official English Netflix page have announced it, and it's coming out in 2025. And I'm so excited for it. And I really hope that, and it should be, that he's speaking in Spanish in the documentary, because I really need more about his mentality. Because obviously when you're speaking English, you can't express yourself in the same authentic and sort of detailed way that you could in your native language. So when he says the key is to enjoy, I want him to explain that more in Spanish and what his philosophy of that really is. But yeah, I've definitely learned more about that enjoyment, and he's definitely been enjoying himself more than at Roland Garros, right? He was suffering a lot more there. Here he's not. The forehand is powerful. It is a weapon. It is amazing to watch. Most of all, I've just been entertained, Carlos. Thank you so much for entertaining me this past 2 weeks. I cleared out Wimbledon, my schedule, cleared out my schedule for Wimbledon, and I'm so happy that yeah, every match I watched all of his matches, and I was there through the stress of that Tiafoe match, and in the end, Tiafoe came the closest to getting the scalp. So fair play to Tiafoe. But yeah, I was there for every match, and just when he turns it on, there's nothing like it. I remember the Tommy Paul court final. My goodness me, he started turning it on, and he was playing under a roof, by the way, turning it on. It was amazing. He's been so entertaining this whole tournament, and yeah, I can't wait for this documentary to come out and you have the storyline. You have question mark his flop era. I never ever bought into these allegations of flop era. For me, the fact that he even won Wimbledon at the age of 20, like I was gonna give him like 18 months to get his shit together before I start calling him a fraud. So when it was March and he hadn't won a title, I was like, okay, he won Wimbledon at 20. Like, what more can you ask for? You won Wimbledon at 20 years old against the GOAT. I'm not saying anything bad about you for 18 months. You get an 18-month waiting period from me. That's what you deserve for winning Wimbledon at 20 years old against the greatest of all time in the fifth set. Like, I'm not saying anything else about you. So even if he wasn't doing well right now, I wouldn't be saying anything until 18 months had passed since last year's Wimbledon final. And look at that. He was injured at the beginning of the season. He had a bad end to last season. He was kind of losing his head a bit. Australia was not good. Some tough losses, right, to Zverev and some more injuries. And then he wins Indian Wells and then he gets injured again. And then he doesn't play basically any clay tournaments and he just shows up for RG and he takes it. He loses early in Queens to Jack Draper, who is the second coming apparently, who lost in the second round. I feel validated. I never touched on that, but I do feel validated by that because I did say that I don't think it was a huge deal for either guys. I don't think Draper beating Alcaraz in a best of three after he's come back from Ibiza means that he's going to be a top four. Neither do I think that it means that Alcaraz losing to Draper means that he's going to flop in Wimbledon. And both of those things were true. And he's gone back to back. He is now going to the Olympics soon to play with Rafa. There's just so much content and material there. And yeah, I think he's the guy to branch tennis out. He's very popular, he's very well known. And also the fact that he was part of an iconic day in Spanish sports, and the same day the Spanish football team won the Euros as well. So just amazing for him. And I there's you can't go wrong rooting for Carlos Alcaraz. You really can't. He's absolutely entertaining. He's frustrating and entertaining. he's so entertaining that he's frustrating, and back and forth, vice versa. And just hope that the rest of the year can be good. I mean, I'm not putting anything else on him. I said that if he wins if he wins this the Channel Slam, I'm not gonna say anything else for the rest of the year. And he's on that, so I don't know. He could not win anything, and I don't know. He's already, to me, had a fucking amazing season. I don't want to say it, but he just had an amazing season, and nothing more to say. Nothing really more to say. He's not, like I said, I like that he's not world number one. He has not really that much. He has less points than the other guys to defend for this swing of the season, and hopefully he just enjoys and plays amazing tennis. And Alcaraz in America is a freaking vibe. Like, I was rewatching the US Open 2022 highlights of Carlos, and man, that energy, like they love him. He's perfect for New York, and I'd love him obviously to win more US Opens because he's just perfect for that vibe. There's nobody more perfect who suits that vibe, you know. I get the crowd like Federer, but Alcaraz is classy, but he has this edge to him that is this competitive edge to him, and this um acknowledgement of the crowd that a crowd is watching. You're not just playing in isolation, you know, in a box, in a in a like a dome. Like people are watching, and he's aware of his responsibility to entertain, and it's just perfect for American crowds. I just love the vibe, and it's like, you know, it's hot, it's sweaty, it's sweltering, it's shirtless sleeves and, you know, arms. I love it. I love the American vibe, and yeah, um, Carlos Alcaraz, you are special, really, really special. And I already said that, but we already knew that, but it's like he's taking up some notches. He's spinning that up some notches. It's really exciting for tennis. It's really exciting. I noticed that we always we're greedy. We're insatiable as audiences. We want more. We've just seen the three greatest players of all time, and yet I want to see another great. I just want to see greats. I don't want to see 10 good players. I want to see two great players, two goats. I want to see the highest of the highest. It's like, you know, in athletics, right? Usain Bolt was, you know, you had this sort of the golden sprinting era of Usain Bolt and Johan Blake and Gatlin and Tyson Gay and those guys. And now we have, you know, and they were running crazy times, the fastest times of all times, all running it. I think in one race there was like four fastest times of all time. And now you have 10 in 100 meters men's races today, you have guys who are running okay times, but it's not what it was like before. And it feels similar to me. I don't want worlds. I don't want, you know, an early 2000s ATP era where you have lots of one time slam winners. I don't want that. I want to see greatness. I want to see kings. I want to see people make guys making these slams their backyard. I want to see records broken or challenged or something. That's the stakes for me. I just like seeing high stakes. I don't want to see, you know, I'm gonna win one, you're gonna win. No, I want to see Carlos win as many as he can at this point because he's amazing on the eye. He passes the eye test as well. Uh, yeah, he won and he was straight to the football. Okay, so another thing that bothered me in this tournament was the focus on the football. Now I get it, like football is the biggest sport in the world, obviously, but I don't know, it was kind of felt like a cop out. Let's go to the football. Let's talk about the football. Right, so we're giving you this awkward on court interview. Let's go to the football. And I don't know, it was kind of annoying. It was when Djokovic was playing someone, was it Popperin? I can't even remember. But England were doing penalty shootouts at the time, and the crowd was like cheering. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. Like, it's like you're there, but you're. I mean, I don't know. It was kind of annoying to me. I'm someone who likes football. However, I want tennis to have its moment. So I don't know. It was kind of annoying the preoccupation of the football. But yeah, um, it is what it is. So the last thing on Carlos is I wonder what his best surface is now. Like I am questioning myself. Allegedly, Carlos himself, he says that his favorite surface is hard court. Okay. The way he came onto the scene would suggest his breakthrough would suggest that clay is his best surface. The amount of grand slams he has would suggest that grass is his best surface. I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be. First of all, he's amazing on every single surface, but I do feel like he's gonna be really. I feel like he's gonna win like five Wimbledons minimum. I just can see it. He's so understands it. The grass likes him. He likes the grass. Like they're feeling each other. He has every single shot, and it just works the most on grass. He's incredible. He's an amazing mover. Like he doesn't slide, but he just runs. He makes it kind of harder for himself. Like the reason Djokovic just slides on grass because he's not taking all those little steps that Carlos is taking. Carlos takes all those little steps, and he's so freaking fast. It is ridiculous. He's gonna win many Wimbledons. He's gonna win five minimum Wimbledons, and he proves his serve. Like oh, he has Federer's game. He's the closest game style to Federer, and I'm not even a Federer fan, but I never saw Federer in his like prime. But you know, Federer is often the best player to watch talked about, and now in our generation is Carlos. So um, it just tends to be that grass rewards those types of players that have so many beautiful, amazing shots, amazing at the net, solid serve, amazing forehand, amazing movement. Every time they show in slow motion, you just see how still his head is when he hits that forehand, and it just blasts. That's 100 miles per hour coming off the racket, and his head is so still. Ah, Carlos, Carlos. I I'm okay with that, by the way. I'd love for him to win Wimbledon every year because that's the one I love watching the most, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I also think he's going to be pretty. I think he's going to win so many Roland Garroses as well. So many. Like, he's so good on clay. And the slowness of the time, he has so much time on clay to wind up his forehand. So yeah, with hard courts, I would say indoor hard courts seems to be his weakest surface as of right now. That seems to be his weakest surface. Because he didn't do well in like Shanghai, ATP Turin, um, that those kind of moments. So I would say, you know, those quicker courts. Australian Open, we don't really have much of a sample size. In 2022, he lost to Berrettini. 2023 didn't play. 2024 made the quarters. So I think he's still learning to play on that hard court in Australia. The US Open, he's very solid. He's won it before, made the quarters, made the semis. But the issue with hard courts is that there is just more better people in the sense that, I mean, the competition is harder. There's just more average guys who are really good on the hard court. That's it. Whereas grass, it's less great people. And that's why when you look at the Wimbledon men's winners, every guy who's won it is a legend. Every guy who wins Wimbledon is a legend because such an elite surface. There's barely any time. It's a very short season, and people that win it they're all legendary. You can only be legendary when you win Wimbledon. You have to be a legend to win Wimbledon on the ATP. Like that's it. Um, and so yeah, I would say grass and clay uh, are going to be like I'm gonna in the time. If you ask me at the beginning of the year, I'm gonna put him for one of them or both of them. Like I'll put his name. Boom, he's gonna win. Like I'm more certain about that than I am about US Open or Australian Open. Not that he's a slouch on those either. It's just that the average guy could peak on a good day and take him out. Whereas we saw some guys peaking at Wimbledon, for example, Umber, Tiafo, but he can turn it around. But if it's hard, I feel like it's harder to turn it around. That's just me. Um, Regardless, he's an all rounder. Um, he's that guy, and I'm still like relishing in the win. I can't believe he did it. I doubted him. I have to say, I didn't think he was going to win Wimbledon. Before the tournament, for me, it was Sinner or Djokovic who was going to win Wimbledon. For me, the main reasons is not because Carlos isn't good on grass. I just thought that it would be really, really hard to win 14, to win two slams in a row. It was just like you have to win two slams in a row and you have to defend your title, and you're gonna have to beat Djokovic or Sinner or at the time, yeah, I thought to win it, and I just thought, isn't he gonna get tired or I don't know. Those were the reasons, and I'm so happy that he won it. I'm so happy that he won it, and yeah. All right, so let's talk about the other men's semi-finalists. So we had obviously the main shock. Lorenzo Musetti made it to his first ever Grand Slam semi-final, Wimbledon semi-final. I never saw this coming. I have to say, I was caught on this podcast slagging off Musetti at Queens when Tommy Paul beat Queens. When Tommy Paul beat Musetti in Queens. I was like, if you had to choose someone to get in a final, you choose Musetti in a final. Because the draw fell apart there, and to be honest, he was in a favourable side of the draw, the Zverev part of the draw. Zverev is unreliable to make it this far. You had Fritz, who he is a typical American male tennis player who just big serve and decent forehand, and as soon as you try and ask them what else do you have, they don't have anything else. He doesn't have a slice. His drop shot is mid. He struggles actually with the movement. And once Musetti figured out, he got past Fritz. So, but I still have to give him his props. Final at Queens and here, semi-final, and yeah, fantastic achievement for him. I mean, I have to say, he's going to be... I wonder how he's feeling. I mean, seeing how Novak just beat him pretty handedly and how he was quoted after the match saying, I've never seen Novak play like that before. I've never seen Novak move like that before. I've never seen Novak serve like that before. And sort of changed my perception of Novak to the point where I'm putting Novak as the favourite in the final. So Musetti, you deceived all of us, including me, okay? Because you're not good enough to expose Djokovic, who was exposed by Carlos in the final. You made me believe that Novak was going to win on Sunday. So, I don't know. Amazing tournament for him, but I don't know. If you see that, you're like, ugh. I mean, that's not a good look. Obviously, Carlos is amazing and generational, but that's not a good look. He choked. To be frank, he should have won at least a set. He had a break. It was 7. Yeah. Good tournament for Musetti though. And it often doesn't feel like it, but he's the same age as Yannick Sinner. I don't know why it feels like he's way older than Sinner. He's the same age as Sinner, and he's matched Sinner's best result at Wimbledon now. So he's only 22. I still think clay is his best surface, but he did well, to try and give this grass season a real go, to not run away, to, use his slice, which is a shot that helps. Obviously, slice is not as, nothing compared to Novak's, but good on him for, showing up, showing out. I think, yeah, for sure, I think clay is his best service, but yeah, he's still young. He can still improve his game. And yeah, he's a dad. He's a dad. He's got a child to feed, and yeah. But let's also get into Musetti's side of the draw. So Musetti had to play Fritz, who played Zverev. So it was the round of 16 was Zverev against Taylor Fritz. So this match was, from the get-go, you could tell that Zverev wasn't moving well. That Zverev was even 2 sets up in the first place is an embarrassment to Taylor Fritz, and it's giving Nadal with an abdominal injury still winning, still beating you. It was really obvious that Zverev was struggling to move to his right, but his backhand was keeping him the point, and Fritz was just sort of playing into that pattern. Yes, even a one-legged Alexander Zverev can rally with his backhand. His backhand is amazing. He doesn't even have to move much. It just sits up in this perfect hitting zone, and he has one of the best backhands of all time. And that was enough to get him 2 sets. And obviously the serve was amazing. The serve was incredible. So he's 2 sets up, and then the first set they go to a tie break, and at this point, Taylor's got the crowd more involved, and he has hit some more drop shots, and it's starting to wear on Alex's legs, and he chokes a little bit, and yeah, Taylor takes that tiebreak, and that's basically how the match keeps going. Taylor gets the break in the fourth, and he gets break in the fifth, and you can just see Zverev legs just declining, just just getting worse. I mean, I have to say, I kind of just kept expecting him to retire from the match because it was so obvious that he was hindered from the beginning of the match. But I guess fair play for just sticking out, even though it's another choke on your record, two sets up, and another situation where you've not won. But honestly, I would say for Zverev, he got injured against Norrie. And if he didn't get injured, he would have been Fritz and he would have been Musetti. He could have been in another semi final. So, it's another unfortunate injury for him. But honestly, he wouldn't have lost if he was normal, if he was moving well against Fritz. He could have easily made the semi final here. So I think overall it's been a good tournament. It was a good tournament for him. Um, there was obviously that weird exchange at the net between Taylor and Alexander, and it was prolonged, and Alex was giving him a good talking to about people in his box who didn't, outside of the tennis world, could you be more obvious with who you were referencing, who were shying out between points or something like that. I was confused to hear that from Alexander because I didn't see nothing from his box. He's probably referencing Morgan Riddle, Taylor's girlfriend, who I would say is the most well known like influencer in the tennis world. And tennis world, I mean, yeah, I of all the like girlfriends of the ATP guys, they're not doing. I think Tommy Paul's girlfriend does it, but the rest of them don't do it. I mean, a lot of them are older, I guess, so like they're millennials and they're not really doing sort of. Well, the girlfriends and wives of the big three, this wasn't their forte. So, but yeah, so she's most known for that. Also, she's really pretty as well, and she has outfits, and it's interesting. Just, I mean, if you're dating someone who's just traveling to a different country every other week, it's really interesting life. So I do subscribe to, I'm subscribed to her channel, and I do like watching some of her vlogs and what she eats, and it's actually really interesting to me. But yeah, she managed to capture that specific audience of us people who, yeah, to bridge that gap between the lifestyle of tennis and us as viewers. But yeah, anyways, so Alex was so clearly shading Morgan, but I didn't see anything. She didn't do anything. She was just minding her business during the match. So I'm not really sure what it was. And then after the match, Morgan posted on her Instagram, when your man wins for the girls. And I did see that as like clear shade towards Zverev because of his domestic abuse allegations. And then she deleted it after and said, some things or whatever. Taylor was in his press conference, talked about it was being very diplomatic, and both of them are. I think it's kind of like a locker room thing, like Zverev, despite his, despite all of these allegations, still has the respect of the locker room, like all of the guys, pretty much. There's this thing in the ATP where they're just, I don't know, is when you're a top 10 guy in your sport, it's like there's respect, and people don't want to delve too much into your personal life or whatever. But Taylor was very diplomatic and was like, me and Zverev are cool, and he didn't say anything bad about him. even if his girlfriend appeared to be shading Zverev. So I mean, I guess they just don't want the hassle of adding beef or whatever. Um, but yeah, that match it was really boring. I remember the commentators were literally just waxing lyric about Carlos Alcaraz whilst that match was happening. Yeah, it was because it was two guys with big serves, terrible combination. I mean, I think it might be a Zverev thing to make matches boring. That's how I feel when I watch Zverev Medvedev. Boring. That's another really boring match. I hate that matchup. Ugh. This is why the Australian Open was really not good to me. The Australian Open this year was really boring to me because, yeah, you have three out of the four guys that were left. So Sinner, Medvedev, Zverev, I do find really boring to watch. So, I did manage to watch the Sinner Djokovic semi-final, but the other semi-final, I didn't. I never watched Zverev Medvedev because it's just ace is and just it's really boring to me. So Fritz and Zverev was giving me the same vibe, and yeah, it was kind of a flat audience crowd, and then Fritz had his comeback, but the comeback even made me cringe because it's embarrassing that you were two sets down to an injured guy. I'm sorry, and he was like, "This is the best one of my career." I mean, yeah, I understand, but I just couldn't get behind the hype. I thought it was embarrassing that he was losing in the first place. And even more perhaps embarrassing to not, no offense to Musetti, take the chance to beat Musetti to get to your first ever Grand Slam semi-final. Especially when you were leading and you whimpered towards the finish line. So yeah, Fritz, I mean, he won Eastbourne, he needs to add more to his game. It can't be as simple because as soon as Musetti started slicing, it was like game over. It was like Musetti just unlocked the code. I'm going to slice and this guy's going to collapse. That's exactly what happened. That can't be it. You've got to have more about you than that. You really have got to. I digress. Let's go to the other side of the draw. So, Medvedev, Medi made it to the semi-finals again. He defended his points and he lost to the same guy once again. What was the difference? Well, this year he got a little bit of a scalp and I think he's going home with something because he took out Jannik Sinner in the quarterfinals. I didn't predict this. I really did not predict this. Sinner had won the last 5 matches in a row against Medvedev, including that another heartbreaking loss for Medvedev at the Australian Open where he was 2 sets up again and lost again. And Sinner was one of the favourites coming into the tournament. He won Halle convincingly, I would say. He had a tough draw. We did say, we did notice that he did have a tougher draw than Novak or Carlos on paper. But still, I expected him to get through everyone. So this match, in the first set, it goes to a tiebreak. Medvedev has set point and he chokes. No other way to put it, he double faults. But he comes back in the second set and I think he gets the break or whatever. And so things start getting like a little bit weird. I only started watching in the third set because I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's a set piece. I start watching in the third set and I do notice that Sinner, his face is like a little bit flushed or whatever. There was a roof on. It was probably a little bit humid. I don't think he seems to like those conditions that much, but I don't know, he starts, when he loses a point or whatever, he like bends over or just clutches his hip, or it's kind of annoying to me, I have to say. Sorry, because I saw the same thing he did against Carlos in the French Open semi-final where he lost a couple points in that fifth set and started clutching his hip, and I just kind of rolled my eyes because I don't know, because he'll do that but then he'll win the next point and then I don't know, it's kind of annoying to me. It's just very dramatic to me. And then in the third set he gets broken When he gets broken at the start of the third set, he then goes off court immediately, citing that his physio told him to take some time to cool down for 10 minutes. Just like that. Apparently, you can just halt momentum just like that. No medical timeout, nothing said to the crowd. He's just gonna go off court for 10 minutes and with absolute radio silence, leave Medvedev sitting there contemplating life for the next 10 minutes and come back and everything's okay. Yes, I did have a problem with this. I found it unsportsmanlike, really. If that's anyone else, I'll say the same thing. It's not, you know, at least take a medical time or something. You can't just do that. You really just can't do that. That annoyed me, and I was worried for Medvedev sitting there contemplating life. I'm like, oh, is it gonna get into his head? He's gonna be a little bit cold, but he held really well. But he did eventually get broken back in the third set, and they went to a tiebreak. But Medvedev won the tiebreak. And then in the fourth set, Sinner wins it so easily. And I wasn't watching at this point because I'm watching Tommy Paul, Carlos Alcaraz at the same time. So, and I think at that point, Alcaraz is like a set down or something. So I'm watching that match. But I look at the score and I'm like, what? He won like 6-2 or 6-1 or whatever. And then they're in the fifth and Medvedev gets a break and he just keeps holding. And that's it. Medvedev wins, a huge win for him. Especially, to dealing with some demons. And Sinner, after the match, says that he woke up ill. He just woke up not feeling good. So I don't know what to make of that. But this is 100% a legitimate win by Medvedev. I'm not buying anything. There's no asterisk here to me. And I said the same thing when Djokovic beat Alcaraz in the 2023 French Open semi-final. Alcaraz had cramps. So what? It's part of physical conditioning. You need to be in shape because you're feeling a certain way. It's not the opponent's fault. And if it was really that bad, then you wouldn't step on the court. And physical conditioning is part of it. You have a match tomorrow. You need to try your best to make sure you're in optimal zone or whatever. Make sure you're eating carefully and all this kind of things. And it is what it is. I'm not going to put an asterisk next to it just because he woke up feeling sick in the morning. Medvedev deserved that win. Really, he should have won the first set even. So it could have been even more straightforward. But yeah, I was happy for Medvedev to get that win. And I think he had a good tournament. I mean, he even did better in the semi-final against Alcaraz. It was not the blowout that it was last year. It was much, much closer. He won the first set, although he got broken a lot, which was ominous signs. And then the rest was, pretty much straightforward from Carlos. But he defended your title. This is not his surface. We know he's a hard court merchant. He's doing well to even make semis, but it kind of also shows there's not many grass court specialists if Medvedev is making semi-finals. And Medvedev, once again, being the party pooper. He loves that role. The disruptor. In the US Open last year, we were all expecting a Djokovic-Alcaraz final. It was going to be like the culmination of all the battles they've had all year. It was going to be another one, another chapter, and he just took out Alcaraz. And it was one of the best performances I've ever seen from Medvedev. Like, the crowd was against him. Even I was against him. I wanted to see that Djokovic-Alcaraz match because just the blockbuster match. And what also annoyed me is after doing all that to take out Alcaraz, he rolled over for Novak in the final. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, he was amazing that time. And here, we're all expecting a Sinner-Alcaraz semi-final, which is what we wanted to see. That both guys, the last time they played at Wimbledon in 2022, and things have changed a lot since then. So we wanted to see that, and again, Medvedev was like, no. And what I liked after the match in the press conference, Medvedev said that these guys can beat me. Talking about Sinner and Alcaraz, they're going to beat me, but I want them to know that every time we play, I'm always going to be there. I'm going to be close, and I want them to know that I'm always going to be there. That's sort of what he was saying. And pretty much, yeah, because we do overlook Medvedev a lot, and he's just like, I'm here. I'm always going to be here. And he is. And I really hope he gets another slam because he really does deserve it. He doesn't deserve to be a one-time slam champion. He does deserve more. He's made so many finals. It's crazy. He played amazing matches against Nadal, and yeah, I'm really happy that he got this win, and he's leaving with something. He's leaving with something.